This week on the PRESSURECAST, multiple sources leak Nintendo NX details, Capcom ships less than 100,000 units of Street Fighter V, and PlayStation saves Sony's financial quarter. It's Monday, August 1st, 2016. Everything happening in the world of video games is here, now, on the PRESSURECAST. Hey, Pressure Pals. Welcome to the 141st episode of the PRESSURECAST. Video Games Are Dumb.com's weekly news panic that posts every single Monday on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, TuneIn Radio, Google Play Music, and America's longest-running independent newspaper at ShepherdExpress.com. My name is Colin Tanner, and I am caffeinated and ready to ramble to you about some gosh darn video games. And across from me, from OptimismVaccine.com, Steve Cuff.
Hey, feels good to be back, man.
Yeah, man. We have so much to get to this week. This is actually a pretty busy week.
All right.
We got to talk about all the upcoming video games in the hype train. We got to talk about the legal business and financial news in the chart park. We got to talk about the mobile and handheld news in Pocket Talk. Idiot of the Week. Strong history. Thank you for the email.
All the good stuff.
Speaking of which, if you want to contact the show, remember, you can email your questions, pressurecast@gmail.com. You can tweet at PressureCastPod, or you can even call or text 954-947-7377, and you will have your question, comment, or maybe even a concern read on air. If you're concerned about something, if you're like, hey, I heard that the Earth is going to crash into the sun. You keep mentioning that. Is that going to happen in 2017? Because, you know, I really want to play Shenmue 3. Well, hey, I can answer that if you email it.
Well, and I know, like, you know, since I was gone for a couple of weeks, people thought I was kidnapped. It's a big thing that was trending on the internet.
If you're concerned about Steve being kidnapped, email.
Hashtag save Steve Cuff.
But in case you've never listened to the show before, each week the PRESSURECAST slices up the latest video game news, past, present, and future, and delivers it right into your ears through several sensational segments in 2 hours or less. And we always start off the show by getting on a train. Chug, 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 chug. Here comes the train. Choo, choo, choo. We like the toots. Tooty, toot, toot, toot. Here comes the train. Boop, boop.
I like that new theme song, man.
That's right. It's time for the Hype Train. Feel the PR vibrations as we barrel towards video game satisfaction station on the Hype Train. This is part of the show we talk about all those upcoming video games to get you hyped up to spend all your money and become a video game guru. And the biggest story of the week, bar none, is Eurogamer, through multiple sources, has details about the NX. Before we start, let's just say it right now so we don't get the comment or the email. Hey, those are just rumors. Fine. This is all rumor. All rumor. We can talk about whether or not we think this is true, but we should also be just judging how we feel about the information that we have right now. Here's what they had to say. It's going to be a handheld device, very powerful, somewhere in between a Wii U and an Xbox One, all right? It's going to have controller plugins on the side of it, all right? So that would allude to maybe a wired controller or maybe something like that's wireless that you would plug in there and then connect your controller. We don't know, okay? It's going to have a docking station, so you can take it on the go. You can take it home, put it in this docking station, presumably through HDMI on the back, goes to your TV, all right? It will use cartridges, not discs, cartridges. Okay, so far so good. There are rumors that this is going to be an Nvidia Tegra for the processor, which isn't, that'd be unusual because they usually use AMD. They have for many, many generations. AMD does Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Not very popular on the PC side, immensely popular on the console side. That's where they make most of their money. But no, they're going to go with Nvidia this time. The Wall Street Journal even mentioned that it will be compatible with Nintendo's own smartphone games. And that is all the information that we have right now. And I will say once again, it is a rumor. But Eurogamer actually does very good work. And if they have multiple sources saying this, there is probably some element of truth in here.
Yeah, I don't think Eurogamer would run the story if they weren't very confident in their sources.
Let's talk about this first and foremost. But by the way, Peer Snyder from IGN has been mentioning this concept for literally 3 years now. Well before the NX name was mentioned, saying, oh, what if they did something that was a handheld and it was a console? So obviously he knew something. There are plenty of people within the industry that knew something. They can't say it, but if they say it, they're getting their buddy in trouble who signed an NDA. But when there's a leaked story, then everyone can start to comment. This would merge the portable and home console development.
Mm-hmm.
Where in previous generations, you'd have something like A Link Between Worlds, Zelda game. Well, they get a Zelda game. And then, we have to wait for Breath of the Wild. This would mean everything is going into one direction.
Yep.
You could have smaller titles, bigger titles. It would almost feel like you'd have independent games and big-time AAA Nintendo games. Would you be a big fan of that? Do you use your 3DS all that often?
Yeah, absolutely. I really like this idea. And I think it's the natural progression.
It's spreading. I don't know where I got this disease, just fumbling over words.
Natural progression of the Wii U, and it's sort of like the Wii U as a concept was a little bit half-baked. If you look at that tablet controller, the low battery life, the fact that it's not really portable, and then all the unused things on it, do you remember there's a TV button on the Wii U?
Doesn't even work anymore.
No, doesn't even work anymore. It's just there.
I think it worked for like 8 months in Europe.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. Then they pulled support.
So there's a lot of things that weren't realized in the Wii U. So we've already seen Nintendo merging on the business side of things, their handheld division with their console development division. It makes sense to do this. I also think if you look at the Asian market where handhelds are so much more popular than home consoles, this makes perfect sense. So if you have something that can function as both a home console and something you can take on the go, that's incredibly lucrative, especially when you think of the big AAA titles like, holy crap, I can play Breath of the Wild on the bus and then I can go home and plug it into my TV and keep playing. So I think it's a very smart move, and I'm pretty excited for it.
I'm going to run through a few hypotheticals here. They talk about how you could be able to plug this into your TV. I question whether or not the portable element, they say it's going to have the brain of the console in there. And I believe that. But what if this dock is some sort of expansion pack? Sure. You know what I mean? Where that's actually how you play the home console games. Once you unplug it, you can play portable games. You know what I mean? Because there's something about it that feels a little strange to me about this idea of taking something like Breath of the Wild on the go, because Nintendo created the portable market, and one of the they didn't create it, but they refined it to the degree that we know of today. One of the things that they understood from the get-go is that the home console experience is very, very different from the portable experience. So they made their portable games more quick hits. They would say, we want to release things like Tetris or Super Mario Land, shorter stages instead of longer experiences. So I feel like there's a sort of an issue there. On top of that, you mentioned battery life. That's a problem with the Wii U. What do you think is going to happen when you have something that's in between a Wii U and an Xbox One they're taking on the go? 2 hours? 3 hours? Because the 3DS, even the original one, has a 3.5 hour long battery life.
Sure. I really think that's something they're going to have to carefully consider when this comes out. We don't know anything about the battery life, but if they're really going with that Nvidia processor, if that's true, that's a far more efficient processor.
Low power. Yeah.
Low power consumption, and I think that'll help out a lot. The other thing is, and I understand where you're coming from with the philosophy behind mobile games. I don't think that philosophy changes. The only thing that changes is the user experience and giving us a choice in what kind of experience we want to have. So I think you're going to see these smaller quick hit games. You're just going to have the option to play them on the big screen and vice versa. And this is something that also exists. Like, I can go on my Samsung Smart TV and download Angry Birds. Is that the best way for me to play Angry Birds? Probably not. But it's there. It's an available option for me.
I do want to also point out, we have to say something about the screen. If this is actually going to come out. I've got an iPad right here. It's a very nice screen. Better than the Wii U gamepad. Wii U gamepad, garbage screen. I know some people like it, and it's okay.
Sure.
But for me, I think it looks like trash. Like, it's blurry. Sometimes the colors don't work the way they're supposed to, compared to the way it works on through the console on a TV. So the screen has to look great, right? First and foremost, it has to be incredibly durable, because unlike smartphones, you're not going to be able to subsidize this. You're going to be paying the full price for this console, right? So how are they going to keep cost low for something that's going to have a beautiful screen? And if it doesn't have a beautiful screen, no one's going to bother with it. Yeah. They take one look at it. I mean, I'm sorry, but people are superficial like that. They want to see great graphics, and if it's portable, they want to see a great screen, and also have it be something that can function after, a 5-year-old throws it down the stairs.
Sure. I think if I was Nintendo, obviously we don't know anything about it, but me speculating, we know that you can have a really beautiful screen for a reasonable cost. The PlayStation Vita exists. The
OLED.
Yeah, it's
Do you
gorgeous.
think they're going to do OLED?
That would be ideal. Even if they had to go with the step down from that, which is the current Vita screen, that's fine. And I think for the durability side of things, okay, I know that you hate it, but it's fine. It's passable.
That LED screen sucks. It doesn't have a proper color display.
Oh my God.
How are you going to tell the difference between summer light and sunflower light?
Oh,
There's
Jesus.
a difference in the bloom texture. I just made up bloom texture. That's not even real.
I would say, yeah. Colin's furiously masturbating to screen resolution over here. Anyways, so I think one of the things they can do is they can take some cues from the smartphone side of things, and if you make the screen Gorilla Glass instead of regular glass, you're pretty much good.
I mean, that's what the new Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge is. That's Gorilla Glass. I mean, that's going to cost them, though. That's going to increase the price of this device.
Yeah, I think so. But at the same time, the cost of Gorilla Glass is going down. Like, that's technology that's 7-8 years old now. So it's starting to get affordable.
I suppose the Vita does use some form of cartridge, as does the 3DS, and that's perfectly fine. But I can't help but wonder, how are they going to hold 50 gigabytes worth of information on a cartridge? And if they're not going to, aren't you... I mean, already this whole concept, I read about how much power it's going to have. I read about, like, how it's going to have to be portable, and it's also going to be at home, and there's going to be these things that attach to the side so people can play multiplayer. It'll just... The third-party platformers, they're just going to be running away. They're not going to get third-party again. I can see Ubisoft giving them some sort of, gratuity, on there, being like, all right, yeah, we have a good relationship. Here's some sort of random Rayman game that we already released elsewhere. I don't understand how they actually will get third-party support. And when I look at this, it's becoming less and less of a console, and it just sounds like some sort of random device. It's like, oh, it's not quite a handheld. It's not quite a console. Aren't we a unique little butterfly again? And it's like, well, I just really believe, and I really believe this, and I hear people saying Nintendo doesn't do power. They don't do powerful consoles. They avoid that. That has never been their thing. And that is a fucking farce. That is a lie. When you look at the NES, that is more powerful than the Sega Master System, is more powerful than anything Atari had going for it. When you look at the Super Nintendo, when you look at the 64, when you look at the GameCube, when you, you look at what the the Game Boy tried, the handhelds, they tried the withering technology approach, but not the home consoles. And I don't know who this is for. Like, Nintendo fans. Great. You were going to lose them along the way.
Yeah.
You're trying to attract new customers, and I can't see how this is going to do that.
I think this is more of it's for a more contemporary audience. It's for a little bit of an older audience, and Nintendo...
You're going to see the 45-year-old on the bus playing the NX.
Yeah, honestly, this is for people who are in their late 20s and through their late 30s who are, they're riding the bus, they're living in the city, they want something that functions both ways. And again, if you look at the Japanese market and how video games are played over there, yes, people buy home consoles. However, portables are super, super popular, and for good reason.
But that market's shrinking because of the smartphones. And no matter what the NX can offer, it's not going to be something that's going to connect to your email and make phone calls and text messages. And if it does, they'll require a data plan. Or maybe you have to tether it to your phone. It sounds messy. That's my biggest issue is this. This does not sound solid to me.
And it also sort of fulfills the promise that we never got on the Vita, which is, remember all those commercials where it's just like, I'm playing MLB The Show at home. Now I'm playing MLB The Show on the go. Do you remember that?
I do remember those. Yeah, I mean...
so it sort of fulfills that promise. And it's hard to speculate at this point just because we know so very little. But conceptually, I think compared to the Wii U and even the Wii, this is a nice balance of traditional and new. And that's where Nintendo thrives, is when they can give you something that's vaguely familiar, but also really separates them from the pack.
I guess. I can't imagine them getting third-party support. I don't know how they're going to attract new customers. I don't see how this grows their market. Because it's just going to be Nintendo fans again. That's what they got with the Wii U, just Nintendo fans, and that did not turn out well.
I don't know. I think this is much... if it fulfills the promise that we have heard so far, I think it's already doing a better job of establishing itself and distancing itself from the Wii U, which was always sort of a half-baked concept.
I'm just saying that, like, of all the divisions to lean into, handheld would be the worst. That would be the worst possible thing you could do. If they were to release yet another console, a powerful console, or moderately powerful, and take that handheld division and be like, hey guys, great work. We're going to smartphones. We need to do this. This is where the money is. That would, from a business perspective, that makes sense to me.
I don't know. See, I agree with the smartphone part, but I don't see the business sense in creating just another traditional console. We already have the Sony PlayStation and the Xbox One, which are, for all intents and purposes, identical.
Well,
with the exception of the software. So then it's just like you have 3 consoles of comparable power that just exist, and then there's no real margin to get in there, and you already have a bajillion people that own a PlayStation 4. PlayStation 4 won. It's over. It's done.
Okay, but
so now you have to be something different.
Well, they're literally going to release something called, not literally going to be called this, but they're going to be releasing the Neo. They're going to be releasing the Scorpio, and people are going to rebuy the same console.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that for a second. I mean, hypothetically.
We're seeing hypothetically, but I think most people.
And when that
aren't.
happens, it's like, oh, Nintendo, yeah, I guess there was no room left in the market. Well, apparently there was, because it keeps going up every single month.
I think you're overbuying here on the viability of the Neo. I would say that there are certainly going to be people out there, hardcore video game fans, who will make that jump. But we are living in an era currently where a very, very, very low percentage of people own a 4K television. And an even lower percentage of people are willing to go out there and just buy a new console if they already own a PlayStation 4.
Every time they put up a Neo story on any random website, just views are through the roof, comments are through the roof. When is it coming out? When is the trade-in program? People are excited for something they already own.
Yeah, but the people who are excited are people who go to video game forums. I'm talking about regular people. So, and I think that's Nintendo's strength here. So, another great example, Nintendo's putting out that little plug-in-and-play console in November for $60,
which I think is going to do gangbusters.
Oh,
that is going to, I think, outgross many of the other things we see this this fall. But I think it'll actually just unit by unit, double the number of PlayStation 4s, Xbox Ones that'll be sold this fall.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. This is where Nintendo thrives, is when they can kind of recapture an audience that isn't a traditional, video game audience. So who plays Pokemon Go? Not just, dweebs on forums.
It's a nostalgia piece.
It's fucking for everyone. Everybody plays it. And the people who I've talked to who are the most excited for this little NES plug-in and play thing, they're people who don't play video games. My boss called me into her office the other day and asked me about it. So I told her about it.
Get in here.
And she's like, can I play Duck Hunt? I'm like, I don't think you can play Duck Hunt. She's like, but can I play Mario and Castlevania? And I said, yes, you can. She's like, okay, I'm going to tell my boyfriend to buy it for me then. I'm like, all right.
Whoa, better shell out the $60.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's
happy anniversary, honey.
It's so simple in its execution, and it does exactly what it needs to do. So if Nintendo is able to carry that momentum into the NX and sell it to these people, people like my boss who are not going out and buying video game consoles, but are saying, okay, I'm interested in this for one reason or another. That's how you capture a market.
I guess, but when I look at the kids, smartphones are good enough. Got Minecraft on there. Don't need this. When I look at the older audience, already got a console at home. This is less powerful. I'm not sure what Snap-on controllers. What? Don't need this. I don't know who it's for. I'm just going to be blunt here. This all sounds like a nightmare to me. This sounds like, okay, I mean, invest all the money you want in this. That sounds like a failure. If it's like the rumors, if this is what it is, if this is exactly what they're releasing, to me, that sounds like a failure. And I know that sounds a bit extreme, but...
A little bit.
Well, I mean, to me, it's like, okay, when is Grand Theft Auto coming out on this? And I know a lot of people roll their eyes, going, why would you want Grand Theft Auto on there? It's the #1 best-selling game. It's still in the top 10s, all right? When is Minecraft going to be out on there? I need to know, when are the biggest titles, the ones that sell month after month, year after year, when is NBA 2K going out on there?
We don't know. Because they haven't announced anything yet. I think you're kind of putting the cart before the horse.
Exactly.
I would say if we get to the point where they make an announcement about the NX and we don't have these major software franchises crossing over to the NX, then it's time to raise the alarm. But at this point, all we know is it might have an Nvidia processor and it's a hybrid console. That's all we know. I
imagine, I already can see what's going to be out there. Here it is, everybody. We got the Borderlands collection coming to the NX.
I think your glass is, well, it's a little bit less than half empty.
Well, yeah.
Before we jump to the conclusions,
there are only little bits and drops in there.
I am cautiously optimistic, and anytime a big manufacturer is willing to take a risk and try something different in a space that is very traditional and kind of stale, I'm on board. But that being said, I do think we have to wait for the software. But until then, it is a little bit problematic to jump to these conclusions.
Is your microphone dipping? I can't tell.
My microphone? No,
yeah,
it's fine.
Okay. I'm happy if you're happy.
I'm happy.
But you might want to raise it a little bit.
Yeah,
you're kind of quiet.
So?
Yeah. Okay. That would. All right.
Nintendo.
Great. No, I don't know. Well, they said that it's going to be unveiled in September.
Cool.
Best of luck.
Then we can talk about it.
I have no faith in that company. They have no idea what they're doing. They just don't, and they haven't for 10 years.
Hey,
so
Pokemon
depressing.
Go says hi.
They didn't do that. They had nothing to do with Pokemon Go. I'm positive that there were plenty of meetings where they were actively against it. Be like, don't do this. I imagine this because of everything they do. I go, what the hell, Nintendo? Except for the NES Mini. That is brilliant. That's going to bring in the money. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Toot toot. We now know more about the PlayStation VR. Once again, Shuhei Yoshida has said all the PSVR games and future titles will be playable on normal PS4. We believe that everyone can enjoy the entertainment content on PlayStation VR. Not just gamers, but a lot more people enjoy PSVR. Basically, it's him, if you read between the lines, hey, don't worry, Neo is not going to have exclusive VR content or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But they also, this is what I love, there's an FAQ question about PlayStation VR from PlayStation Asia, right? So it's an official Sony website. They actually detail a few things, including cinematic mode, which creates up to 226-inch distance from 2.5 millimeters. So like
The fuck does that mean?
It means you're looking at an imaginary TV.
Okay.
Is what it means. Like the movie theater mode. I don't know if you've messed around with VR, but if you watch a movie, you're in a fake movie theater. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of interesting. They also say kids under 12 are not allowed to use VR headsets.
Are not allowed?
Nope.
What's going to happen?
It's just a weird English
turn into a pumpkin.
Something like that. They also mentioned that you're going to need 60 square feet of space. Basically just 6 feet back, 6 feet wide kind of thing. Which, I have a bunch of lights and whatever where I play games. So honestly, I'm in a bit of a space jam. But it's also worth. When I demoed PlayStation VR, there were people standing next to me and stuff like that. I don't believe for a second it actually needs to be 6 feet wide.
Sure.
Because I used it and I was playing the game where you moved your head. So and actually
that's probably a safety thing more than anything else.
I think so, and I think it's just them making sure you have the best experience. They're a little worried. They're overestimating just because they want to make sure everything's perfect. Mm-hmm. Because if they say 4 feet, then people mess up and go, "Oh, it's not even worth the money." You're still not going for this. You're not doing it.
No, it's very expensive, and
it's only $400.
Only how much?
$400, dude.
Dude, that's a lot.
That's the price of seal meat. It's nothing.
It's a lot of money for something that, by their own admittance here, I don't need to have.
No, but you can play the games you already own in a virtual space.
But I have a real space that I like very much.
Your real space is nowhere near this virtual space. 226-inch TV. Good luck with that.
I mean, that's pretty cool. But for $400, I don't have the cash flow. I guess if I was Mr. Upper Crust here, then I might consider it.
The thing is, and they say that kids under 12 are not allowed to play this. And when I read that at first, I'm like, ooh, does that hurt the PlayStation VR? I was like, wait, no. This is literally for like 18 and up, where it's like, I don't know where I got this money, but I'm going to funnel it into this system.
Mm-hmm.
I am looking forward to PlayStation VR. I'm still incredibly skeptical about VR as a genre,
mm-hmm.
'Cause it still feels like a genre to me. It does not feel like a platform, I don't know. Looking forward to it. Toot toot. Microsoft has once again cut the price of the Xbox One down to $249 ahead of the Xbox One S's debut on August 2nd. It's my cat's birthday.
Oh.
That's true.
How well? I mean, that's coming up. That's in a couple days, right?
I know. He's real excited.
Yeah. Happy birthday to your cat, by the way.
You.
And will you be getting him a Scorpio for his birthday?
I'm thinking about it, yeah. I mean, he's getting older. I was worried about all those violent games, and I hear how people talk on the Xbox Live, but he seems old now.
Well, and this will be a good test, too, because we talked about, are people actually going to go out and replace their Xbox One with a Scorpio? So we're gonna see the numbers. We're going to see if people are willing to do this.
I think it will do pretty well.
Mm-hmm. I'm a little concerned only because just like broadly, I don't think a lot of people know about this.
Yeah, no, I think they're willing to sell it on the shelf. I think that's how they're going about it.
There's no advertising campaign that I've seen.
Well, the system looks good, and that actually goes a long way for when you're just at Walmart going, "Ooh, that's pretty."
Mm-hmm.
At this point, though, if I'm Microsoft, I'm kind of offended. Like, oh, hey, our console, $249. Anybody want to buy this fucking console for $249? Like, the Xbox One is a great console. fantastic console if you want to play something like Forza, or if you want to have the Master Chief Collection, which actually works very well now. If you want to play that upcoming Gears of War, if you want to play Rise of the Tomb Raider before.
You want to play the Conquer game?
If you want to play Rare Replay, there are tons of exclusives.
I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about the one in what's it called?
Project Spark.
Yeah, Project Spark,
which is dead now, thank God.
R.I.P.
But there's so many great exclusives on this system, and people still haven't bought it. No. Still, it's still that far behind.
Because I have a PS4. I guess at this point, if I didn't have a PS4 or an Xbox One, I would consider an Xbox One just because it's so damn cheap.
And it has a great controller. I've really come around on that controller.
There you go.
You know, toot toot. Speaking of Xbox, we have the brand new backwards compatible games. This is exciting. That's another thing. They have backwards compatibility. No one's buying the console. $249. Yeah.
Dive deep into that illustrious Xbox catalog.
Well, here's what they've got. Boom Boom Rocket from Bizarre Creations, the same team that made The Club.
Yeah.
Remember that. And also Siberia, the adventure game from 2002.
This is why no one's excited about backwards compatibility.
Dude, there's someone very excited about Siberia. I guarantee it.
I agree that their choices have been interesting in so much as they've cherry-picked a few things that have like strong niche cult followings, but there's nothing like for the average person that stands out. Like Siberia, I know on name recognition alone, but it's not like something like, holy fuck, Siberia.
I know some people that are holy fuck Siberia. I know these people.
I'm worried about them.
Toot toot. We have the games with gold for August on the Xbox One. All of August, you're going to be able to get Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate, which is where they merge Samurai Warriors and Dynasty Warriors. I really like Samurai Warriors. I really like Dynasty Warriors. I hate this game. Not fun. Warriors Orochi is just a mess. It is just a mess. Like the first stage, I don't know what they did to that game, but you just basically are fighting on a giant asteroid.
What?
Yeah, so it's just, it's some sort of molten lava situation. So everything's just dirty and grimy and ugly, and everyone looks the same already because it's a Dynasty Warriors game. Mm-hmm. Just awful. Couldn't stand it. But also, WWE 2K16 from August 16th to the 15th.
Oh, that's cool.
That's going to be really weird. I can't believe it. I mean, playing online is going to be pretty good. And that's the Xbox One version. I mean, that should be interesting. People might want to play as the Lunatic Fringe. Dean Ambrose, the WWE champion right now. I just don't know what that hothead is after. You know, he's out of control.
Oh, he's after my heart.
Yeah, he is. On the Xbox 360, 1st to the 15th, these are backwards compatible games, mind you. Spelunky.
Cool.
I know.
Spelunky's awesome.
And Beyond Good and Evil HD. All in all, I'll say that's actually a pretty decent lineup, though, because I know some people are fans of the Warriors Orochi series. I don't understand it. I love Samurai Warriors and Dynasty Warriors, but whatever. WWE 2K16, I think that's going to be hugely popular. Kind of interesting that 2K also had their NBA series free for the month of June for PlayStation. Now they're doing the WWE over in on Xbox. So more games than they generally give out. As for Spelunky and Beyond Good and Evil, Spelunky's good. Beyond Good and Evil, doesn't really hold up, man. I tried. But people still really want that sequel.
I was going to say, yeah. Regardless of your opinion on the game as a whole, I think people are going to be excited about being able to play that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Toot, toot. Now we also have the PlayStation Plus games for the month of August. Ooh. On PlayStation 4, you're going to be able to play Rebel Galaxy. Fantastic game. I don't know if you ever had a chance to play that. You're gonna oh, it's great. Tricky Towers, which is getting very good reviews. What is it? Ultron? Whatever it was. I played this. It's a top-down shooter. I'm not a huge fan of it, but other people might dig it. On the PlayStation 3, you get Retro/Grade. Cool game.
Yeah.
Yakuza 5.
Oh, wow.
I think that's awesome they're giving that out because that game, all you have to know to get into that one is 4 games worth of backstory. So just getting real. Seriously, I can't even tell you the story of Yakuza 5 because it would spoil 4 other games. So I don't know. On the Vita, you're going to get Patapon 3 and Ultron or whatever is crossplay. Cool. I don't know. I think this is a really good month. I saw a lot of people complaining like, look, they got to stop with these indie games. We need to boycott PlayStation Plus.
What do people care if they're indie games? Those are all good games.
No, indie. I want games that are expensive to buy.
I need big money, $60 games, lots of content. How much content does your game have? More content equal better game.
I don't get it. $60 a year, $50, $60 a year,
something like that.
something around there, and you get all these games free every single month, and people are complaining. You still have to buy your own games. If you see a game on the shelf and you really like it, be like, awesome, can't wait to get that on PlayStation Plus. You're doing it wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a nice surprise when there's a big name title. Like, I would never go out and buy a 2K basketball game, but it came out, and I played it quite a bit.
It's a very good game.
It's fun, yeah. And then with the indie games, it's cool because I feel like that's the best way to curate a service like this is, hey, here are these games that are really, really good that maybe you haven't heard of or had a chance to play, and just have them for free and enjoy them.
But Rebel Galaxy it's this garbage indie game that has really good graphics, an entire universe to explore.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want that. I want No Man's Sky. Like, I don't know what these people want. Yeah. I don't know what they want. I thought Rebel Galaxy was really good, though. A lot of fun. It takes a little bit of learning, but once you get into it, and it is repetitive, but it's cool. There's an atmosphere to it you just don't see anywhere else. It's gritty sci-fi. Where like cigarette burns on your spaceship sci-fi, which is my favorite form of science fiction. Toot toot. Disney Infinity is not quite living up to its name. The service is shutting down in the near future. Which means that it will not be playable on the PC or Apple TV or your phones anymore. You just won't be able to log into it unless you have a Steam version of it, right? But luckily, they're giving you enough of a heads up. So, 2 months, and then you can't play the game anymore.
Oh, Lord.
I love that. 2 months. We actually have all the details here. So, they turned off in-game purchases on PC and mobile when they made this announcement. On September 30th, you can no longer use the PC, iOS, Google Android, or Amazon Android versions of the game unless you have the Steam version. They will not support it with online play, so you won't be able to download or upload Toy Box stuff, but you can still play it, you know? And then March 3rd, Apple TV and Windows 8/10 versions no longer available, supported, or playable. I don't know if that affects the Steam version at all.
Man.
And then on consoles, of course, you can just put in your disc. Once again, physical media. Microsoft was shellacked for giving only a year in advance notice that you would not be able to use your P80X workout videos anymore. They give them a year, and people shellacked them for this.
Sure.
Now, Disney is obviously not supporting this service anymore.
Yeah.
They're out of it. They're not even going to be making games. They don't give a fuck. But this is horrible, right? I don't even like Disney Infinity.
I don't like it. But this is, again, we go back to the physical media argument. The problem with digital games is you're essentially holding on to ephemera. Once the server shuts down, you no longer own something. It's long-term renting.
It's garbage. Sad. It's absolute trash.
That's kind of shitty.
I mean, Disney should be ashamed of themselves. I get it. Disney is a smaller company. They are going to have to cut the budget somewhere.
Yeah.
They can spend billions of dollars on Star Wars. They can't leave their stupid game series, which for some reason kids love. All right, maybe people aren't buying it, but people that own a Disney Infinity figure, they don't just own one. They own like 25.
And I understand, okay, we're not going to support this game anymore. That's fine. But the idea that it won't be playable is just kind of weird
on PC and Android and Apple TV.
Yeah, so why not leave it up? And then as far as the servers go, this would be the best way to do it. You can still play your game. We will not officially support it, and our servers will shut down. However, if a third party wants to open up a Disney Infinity server, we're completely open to that.
Oh, their lawyers are already shaking their heads.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, if you wanted to do this the right way, that would be the way to do it.
It's just disgusting. 2 months?
2 months.
That's insulting. That is so insulting because you actually had to go out and buy physical. It's one thing if it was just a game. I'd be like, that easy come, easy go. That's what happens. But they give you all these little trinkets and toys. You had to invest large sums of money into the series. You didn't have to. But many people did. And that's how you turn around and just go, 2 months. See ya.
Yep.
Peace out. Disgusting. Wow. They're just trying to get people to buy the console version, aren't they? They're trying to get those last few copies off the shelf, aren't they? That is, all right, whatever. Toot toot. There's going to be a small delay for No Man's Sky on the PC. It will be out on the PlayStation 4 on August 9th. However, the PC version will not arrive until the 12th of August. So 3 days. Not a big story, but I'm sure there's someone already freaking out on the internet about this.
I'm over it. I'm done with No Man's Sky. You don't even know what it is.
Toot toot. Wow, this is actually a pretty interesting story. Remedy, the people behind Max Payne, Alan Wake, Quantum Break, they are working with Smilegate. Those all rhyme. This is interesting. To work on Crossfire 2. I don't know much about Smilegate. I don't know much about Crossfire 2, except that it makes a lot of money. Like over $1 billion.
What? I've never even heard of it.
I think it's a Korean thing.
Oh, okay.
Or at
sense.
least Asian territories.
Is it based on the game where you shoot the little BBs at each other?
Yeah. Yeah.
You get caught up in the crossfire.
This is wonderful news, I have to say, because Remedy has been just kind of wallowing in this, B-grade reputation. The games they put out are good and ambitious. Alan Wake, awesome. Quantum Break, not my thing, but other people really enjoyed it. But then, they don't sell very well.
No.
So they're getting, picked up by this $1 billion game. That's great news because they know how to do shooting very, very well. So good for them. They deserve some damn money finally. Toot toot. Drive Club VR will be launching alongside PlayStation VR on October 13th. This is going to be the final project from Evolution Studios.
Will Drive Club VR be regular PlayStation 4 compatible?
Yeah, I believe so. I wonder if you can get the PlayStation Plus version of Drive Club VR a year later. This is actually pretty smart because people don't realize this. Drive Club has always been a launch title. Even though it missed the launch window. It's a game that takes place in a very sterile environment. It looks pretty. It looks pretty, but as soon as you realize it's just sterile, you realize how bad it actually kind of looks. No offense to the developers, they worked as hard as they could. They're working against a moving target. I get it. I'm not mad at the developers, but the game just didn't look all that good. But when you buy something that's very expensive and it's brand new, that's all you want is just this confirmation, where all you see are the pretty things. It doesn't matter how well they merge together. So I can see this working out very, very well. I'll probably pick it up just because driving game in VR sounds fun. Toot toot. Telltale's Batman is going to be out this Tuesday, the very first episode, but they're also introducing multiplayer in this title called Crowdplay. That's right, Crowdplay, where you and some other people, even up to 2,000 people, can vote on what you want to see happen next. Does Bruce Wayne reveal that he's Batman or not?
Oh, that's actually kind of fun and weird. I guess it's kind of a play on like the Twitch plays, whatever.
Exactly.
Genre.
Sure. And besides that, I guess they're implementing this into their older games in some ways. They do have that game show. Remember they announced a game show like a year and a half ago? They announced a game show when they were working with Marvel, and they announced a bunch of stuff. And I guess this might just be a test run for that.
Sure.
Because I assume it's like a live TV show where people call in and they vote on what happens next. I can't wait. That's gonna. I want them to be successful, but I want that show to just fall apart at the same time. I want to see terrible things happen. All right, toot toot. Yakuza 0 will be launching on the PlayStation 4, January 24th. It's official in the West on disc, not just digital like they did with Yakuza 5. This is a prequel to the Yakuza series, taking place in 1988, which is of course. That's going to be right before the recession in Japan. It's a pretty cool idea, actually. It was released on the PlayStation 3 in Japan. We are not getting it. I assume this is some sort of test run for Yakuza 6, maybe?
Sure.
Have you ever played a Yakuza game?
Not extensively, no.
When I refer to my life, there are my years that are BY and AY. Before Yakuza, after Yakuza. After Yakuza, everything's better. I feel like I can work out. I feel more confident when I walk. I'm having more fulfilling relationships. I'm making more money. Nothing wrong with that. And let me tell you, Yakuza is the way to go. But hey, Sega, maybe don't take down my videos. If I do a Yakuza video, why can't we make this series big? Why doesn't no one know about our series? All we do is take down all the YouTube videos about it. Get out of your ass. Toot toot. Shenmue 3 has a brand new employee. Well, the development team of Shenmue 3. That employee is, we'll try this, Kiji Okayasu. Kiji Okayasu? I'll go with that.
Okayasu.
He was the game and program director for the original Shenmue and also worked on Shenmue 2. I love Shenmue. I just replayed through it. And I love Shenmue 2, and I plan to replay through that. I had no idea this guy was the game and program director. I had no idea that there was a game and program director.
Well, you should have read the credits, you dick.
I thought it was Yu Suzuki that did that. So shame on me. Well, here's what he had to say, which is kind of affirming. What I personally want to stress for my part is what makes Shenmue Shenmue. The game has an utterly unique atmosphere, and I want that all to be breathed in. As you play along, you feel the ambience, the milieu, from place to place, getting the full sensory experience. It is about that nature, atmosphere, as best as I can call it, because Shenmue is a game where that is so important. With Shenmue 3, that aspect will not be disregarded, and I will keep it alive as well as we continue development. You know, it's one of those things where Shenmue actually gets shellacked for this, where it's like, this is boring. And it's like, no, this is the game. You know, where it's kind of like you're somewhere else. You're taking kind of a vacation to it.
Yeah, it's like Grand Theft Auto without the theft or the auto.
Yeah, it's like sleeping dogs without the dogs. You just get to sleep. Well, actually, when there are dogs that bark at night in Shenmue. And because it's very realistic. I'm looking forward to Shenmue 3. I honestly don't think he'll live up to the other two, but it's kind of nice.
Too much hype. That hype train rolled through too hard.
It's Kim possible, sadly. You know, I don't know. I don't even know. I took a note. I wrote down a note that says, shows what kind of a fan I am. I'm feeling really down on myself.
Are you criticizing yourself?
I don't know.
You have the ability. That's important. Wow.
Toot toot. Darksiders War Mastered Edition is going to be released on the PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Wii U. It is going to be a $20 budget title, a re-release of the original Darksiders.
The original, not Darksiders 2.
No, Electric Boogaloo, certainly not. At this point, they have to be getting Darksiders 3 coming out, right?
I don't know. That IP's in a weird spot. Doesn't like Deep Silver own it or something?
It's Nordic Games.
Okay.
Which does Nordic... No, Nordic doesn't work with Deep Silver. I'm getting twisted here. But I know what you mean. It was just because that was when THQ dissolved. It was like, Deep Silver, Nordic.
And nobody bought Darksiders at first. Like, it just languished for a very long time before somebody picked it up.
Yeah. Or was that Red Faction as well? Didn't they have an issue?
Maybe that was them too. But it's weird because Darksiders 2 is kind of fun. It's just like, it's very Zelda-esque in its presentation. Darksiders 1, I haven't played it in years, but I do not remember enjoying at all.
I thought most people liked part 1 better than part 2. I liked part 2. I thought it was fun. I thought part 2 was really cool because you're this big, bulky guy who can still wall run. Stupid. There's a moment in the game, and it's very early on. I can't remember the exact name, but this guy's like, my name's Mixel. My friends call me Mix. And Death goes, well, hello, Mixel. Just like a really subtle jab. I love that. Good writing in that game. Okay, toot toot. Here are the games that are going to be coming out this week. It is a blockbuster week, if I do say so myself. On Tuesday, Batman, a Telltale game, will be released on damn near everything. On Tuesday as well, Tricky Towers will be on the PlayStation 4. And last but certainly not least, Live Lock on the PlayStation 4. Arguably the biggest releases of the year so far. What a Tuesday.
Super Tuesday.
Boop, boop. That's going to do it for the Hype Train. We have literally had the podcast break down like 5 times, recording this one goddamn segment. I don't know how long this segment's actually going to be, but it took us, let me see. It took us over an hour to record this. It's like 50 minutes. Okay, I guess that doesn't seem that long. Either way, we are going to be back with the Chart Park. It appears our technical issues are done, and I think I know why.
Got to keep rolling.
So please stay tuned after this. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Welcome back to the show, everybody. We're running long this week, so we're just not going to do a break. We just had a little break for ourselves. A little personal time, if you will. But please do go to iTunes and give the PRESSURECAST 5 stars and a written review, and I'll come over to your house, and I will kiss you.
Mouth kisses, that's what we offer.
Open.
Passionate mouth kissing.
Don't matter who you are, where you're from, as long as you love me. I remember hearing that song, even as a kid, and being like, that doesn't make a goddamn lick of sense. Those Backstreet Boys, you got to raise your damn standards.
Seriously, you're better than that.
I was thinking about this the other week, though. Isn't it weird that all the members of NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys had more fulfilling and successful lives, just talking about life, not career, than one Britney Spears? Yeah. Isn't that weird? They all turned out a lot better.
Yeah. Hey, Britney's back, man. She's got a new single.
Yeah, but I mean, I would rather live, 100 years of Joey Fatone than 5 years of Britney.
Yeah, well, especially during the Britney shaved her head phase. I can understand that.
Yeah, not good. Anyway, everybody get out your lunch boxes. Everybody get out your sand pails.
Sand pails?
We're going outside to a little place that's always warm with the glow of cold hard cash. That's right. It's time for The Chart Park, the land where money grows on trees. Yes, the Chart Park, this is the show we talk about all the legal, business, and financial news in the video game industry, and we find out which fat cats of Wall Street will tip their top hats towards Lady Luck. We are going to start off once again with Nintendo. Some more good news for Nintendo.
Yay.
They actually made a statement, an official statement, saying, hey, we really don't have that much to do with Pokemon Go. We have already projected our forecast for the year, and we included Pokemon Go into that. So if you would please stop associating us with that product. And their stock dropped 18%.
Yep.
Almost 18%. And it should be noted that when it comes to the Tokyo exchange, there's a law in place that you cannot drop more than 18%. They actually have a law in place, which is kind of interesting.
Well, and if you want some smart investment advice, buy Nintendo stock right now. Well, here's why. Because it'll probably drop some more, guaranteed. But once it levels out, you have to remember that the quarterly report that came out, the financial quarterly report that said that Nintendo's
we'll get there.
Is not profitable.
That's the next part.
Buy the stock now, because once the Pokemon Go numbers come back for the next quarter, even though Nintendo said, by the way, don't associate us too much with this, that stock's going to skyrocket again. So go ahead, do yourself a favor, buy some Nintendo stock. I
know everyone's saying stupid, ignorant investors, they weren't paying attention, and then the second they find out about this, they pull out. I don't buy it for a second. No, you know what happened was all the smart investors going, crap, the idiots are going to figure this out. And that's who pulled out their stock. I guarantee it.
Yep.
It was the people that knew what was going on, knew that there was a bubble being created, because there were just too many people out there that just see Pikachu and go, oh, yeah, that's the Mario thing. They don't know any better. They're dumbos. But unfortunately, Nintendo's past quarter was not very good. Wii U hardware sales dropped by 50%.
I didn't think they could drop anymore.
Well, they had 220,000 units sold. Yes, that would be the sales there. For the 3DS, they actually dropped 7%, but still 940,000 units were sold. Net sales are down 31%. Overall, this quarter saw a $233 million loss. And as I will point out, I think the last it was confirmed, Nintendo has a $4.5 billion war chest. So, I mean, they're covered. But let's really talk about this. I've never seen a company since Sega have such a lame duck console. I'm talking lame, like, it's just dead. It's a dead console.
Absolutely, 100%.
I guarantee you, I would love to see PlayStation 3 sales and Xbox 360 sales compared to the Wii U. And I have a theory, and I'll expand upon this perhaps in the future. I truly believe Nintendo is not dropping the price of the Wii U because they don't want it to sell. I actively think they do not want to sell units, which sounds bonkers. Yeah. But I think they want people to forget it even exists. They're giving it the treatment of the Virtual Boy without just full out canceling it.
Sure.
I firmly believe that. They will not drop the price on the system because that would actually encourage you to spend your money. And they do not want you to spend your money on this. They want you to save your money for the NX. Does that sound like a conspiracy theory? Absolutely. But Nintendo is a very strange company. And when I look at all these choices, at some point, there has to be something that's deliberate about this. And that's what I see. I don't know. They didn't give you a single reason to buy a system. Why would you buy a Wii U in 2016?
You really like Mario Kart?
One reason.
Mario Kart's good.
2014. Mario Kart is good in 2014. Still is. Still great.
Still is.
I don't know. What do you make of these numbers here, Steve?
It's pretty much par for the course. I mean, there's nothing on the horizon for the Wii U. There's a solid catalog of games out there, but they're not in the public consciousness right now. There's too much noise going on in the video game sphere, and the Wii U is not part of that conversation.
I mean, if you don't have something like The Division, best-selling game of the year so far, it was just outpaced by Uncharted 4. You don't have that.
No.
Like, how are you supposed to survive?
I don't know.
I don't know.
You don't?
Do you really?
Which is why they're not supporting the console.
Can you imagine having $233 million? That's how much they lost. Imagine just having that money. That's how much it blows your mind, because everyone just, they look at it as cold numbers, as they should when you're analyzing this type of stuff. When you break it down, like, Jesus Christ,
it's a lot of money.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's not a good position to be in. But again, once you get the next quarter results in, just watch that stock skyrocket back up, whether it's an artificial bubble or not. But if you buy stock right now, wait for Nintendo's next quarterly results to come in, and then the next day, watch the stock jump, immediately sell it again, and you'll make some money.
Completely disagree. You should be buying the stock because of that the NES Classic. That's what's going to make the money.
Well, actually, you probably could sit on it for a half a year or something, and you'll still make money. But now is the perfect time to buy.
Pulling a Fonzie, as they say.
Yeah, now's the perfect time to buy Nintendo stock. And whether the NX is an immediate success or not, their stock will jump again when the NX comes up. So.
And then it will drop when they have their next quarterly report because it always drops no matter what the numbers are.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, let's move on. We have some Sony news. Long story short, if Sony didn't have PlayStation, they would be having abysmal quarter right now.
Mm-hmm.
It is so built around PlayStation. How built? Well, 78% of all of Sony's business is just from PlayStation. Now, Sony's profits, overall profits, Sony, their profits fell 42%. Okay? Revenues are down 10.8%. Now let's talk about PlayStation. They saw a 14.5% increase in revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Operating income went up just a little bit. 126%. 126%!
Yeah.
Of course, compared to the quarter of last year. But yeah, Sony is just not doing that well. PlayStation's carrying it on its back. They're still saying they're going to sell 20 million PlayStation 4s this year. They're already at 4.3 million for overall sales. I mean, what does Sony do right now? I mean, they what else can they cut? I mean, they got rid of that PC.
Yeah, they've done a lot of cuts. It's just that their problem is they haven't figured out, like, Sony isn't dominant in any other market. Like, they're not dominant in the TV market anymore. They're not dominant in the personal electronics market. All they have is PlayStation, and that is a very scary place to have. That's the one basket you don't want all your eggs in. Not because the PlayStation isn't a runaway success, because it is, but video game market is notoriously fickle, first of all, and second of all, video games are an industry of razors and blades. Like, there's very, very, very slim margins to be had. So, yeah, they're riding high on the success, but if something blows up, if PlayStation VR doesn't pan out, if they, there's a million different things that can go wrong for them. And if they do, Sony is in a very bad position.
They're in a very bad PlayStation. I mean,
Jesus Christ,
I'm just saying, like, you look at Sony and you look at what they put out, and they put out the best. They put out the best televisions. They put out the best cameras. In different divisions, of course. It's not the best camera. But if you're looking for like a DSLR,
a mirrorless DSLR, it's a very specific kind of best camera.
They have the best. They always make the best stuff. Whereas people like Samsung and other Korean companies have really carved out a market of maybe it's not the best, but it's affordable.
And it's
good
damn
enough.
good. Yeah,
it's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you care about. So and there's a reason why they're pushing this 4K. They're like, hey, maybe we should sell some 4K TVs, huh?
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of rough over here. All right. Moving on, let's talk about Konami, which is maybe the saddest news of the week. So, obviously, Konami is a little tight-lipped about what they're doing with video games. I even talked to someone from Konami this week. Long story short, I was just like, hey, what are the plans for the upcoming games? Like, we're in the reevaluation process still. I'm like, okay, been doing that for a while. What they said is that revenue was at $481.5 million. That's down, but only by 3.5%.
That's not bad.
The operating profit, was up to $88.7 million. That's a 40% increase. Digital entertainment up 5.6%. That's $245.5 million. And profit for their digital entertainment up 34.3% to $84.7 million. They're not interested in making games. Konami just doesn't care. They don't care about video games.
It's hard to really knock them for it. Like,
they're still making money.
They make a lot of and that's the thing, is they don't care about video games. We talked about this before, how they literally shit all over Silent Hill and they didn't care. Like, they just got rid of the actual source code to Silent Hill 2 because fuck it, who cares? If they don't care and they're not making money, then shit. I mean, that's bad news.
I mean, why should they? People just keep giving them cash. Who cares? Pachinko machines. Here's Solid Snake on
the wave of the future, man.
Very, very sad. Moving over to Capcom. Here's a little bit more sunny news for you. Street Fighter V, which is their big title of 2016, shipped less than 100,000 units in the past quarter.
Shipped.
Why do we know this? Because in the report, unless this was a horrible typo, unless someone just copy and pasted and forgot what they were doing. They said last quarter, 1.4 million shipped. And then for this quarter, 1.4 million shipped, which means less than 100,000. Because it didn't say 1.5, didn't say 1.6. It's just at 100,000. That's a little bit of bad news for them.
And it's not 1.4 on top of 1.4? Like,
no,
this is grand
total lifetime ship units. Not even sales. Let's talk about sales. Sales right now are at 104 million for them. That's only down 24%.
1.4 million, not 104 million.
No, sales for Capcom.
Oh, sales as money, dollar amounts, not individual units.
No, 24% down. Operating income, it's only at a $6.9 million loss. And they do mention the yen is down. Mm-hmm.
That is true.
Which is why people are not buying Street Fighter, and then why they have no games out. The yen is down. That is why. I don't know about you, but when the dollar goes down, I just lay on the floor. I just stop doing everything. Don't do. Hey, one week the podcast was late. It was because the dollar was hurting a little bit, and I'm like, oh, how do I get up?
It really boggles my mind that people they don't care about Street Fighter 5. Like, even in like popular discourse online, like, no one's talking about it.
Well, I mean, if
Unless
only
we're saying what the fuck is wrong with it.
If only there was a way for more people to play it without having to actually spend any money to just try it out. I mean, if you could play it for free, if it was free to play, just saying, Capcom.
Well, and if they don't want to commit to that, man, like, at least put it on PlayStation Plus or something.
Oh,
like,
dear God, no. Oh, PlayStation Plus. I thought you said PlayStation Now. I'm like, oh,
no,
God.
Not PlayStation Now. PlayStation Plus.
Yeah. Our cloud network's
More
going
like
to give
PlayStation Never.
But they did mention that Resident Evil 7 looks promising. They got a lot of good feedback from E3.
Oh, yeah.
So that should add up to money. I guess that's how it works.
And they got that third-person shooter that no one plays.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of fighting game companies, Iron Galaxy, the people behind Killer Instinct, have a brand new CEO. One Adam Boyes. He just left Sony. And also he'll be working alongside longtime friend Dave Lang, who founded the company. These guys used to work at Midway together. It's kind of funny. I'm still saying, This Is Vegas. If you're interested, you want to re-release This Is Vegas? I'm up for it. Open world.
I don't even know what that is.
It was an open world game that was canceled a long time ago where it took place in Vegas.
Oh.
And it was called This Is Vegas. And I had it on my Xbox 360. I had the video preview for it on my Xbox 360. Actually, I still have it, so that's almost 8 years going now.
Maybe they'll do an HD re-release of War Gods.
Maybe. I mean, Mr. Boyes is actually been very successful ever since leaving Midway and working with Sony, and taking on a role as CEO is probably going to, really help them out. David Lang even, I think, said something to the effect of they're going to leverage his publisher relationships to explore new opportunities for Iron Galaxy and maximize the studio's revenue potential. I think this is going to be great. Some people were like, wow, he left Sony, now he's working with Microsoft because of Killer Instinct. And, that's one way to look at it. It's wrong, but it's one way to look at something. They also have Dive Kick.
Yeah.
I know.
I
Can't
love
wait.
that game.
Speaking of people switching over to different companies, there's a segue for you. John Rook is going to be taking over as the International Marketing and Communications Director for 2K. You might be saying, what has this jerk ever done? Well,
Bozo.
The statement from 2K says, bringing on John to the lead international marketing and communication team is the last piece of the puzzle to complete the evolution of 2K International team in Windsor. Previously at Sega, Creative Assembly, THQ, and Xbox, John has a wealth of experience on both the publishing and development side and bringing a ton of knowledge on the table on AAA franchises. THQ, Xbox, Creative Assembly, Sega, say what you will, they brought in money. Maybe they didn't run their businesses, properly, or maybe it was they just couldn't bring in enough money. But I think it seems like he'd be a good fit. And 2K, they're not stupid.
Nope.
They clearly know his work. I mean, we're talking about 2K. We're talking about the people that do the NBA games. We're talking about the people that publish Grand Theft Auto. They cover a lot of ground. Battleborn.
Battleborn.
Let's go over to another story that I'm going to let Steve talk a little bit about. John Carnahan.
The Baptist.
John Carnahan.
Mm-hmm.
He is a writer.
Yeah.
He is a screenwriter.
Mm-hmm.
He writes for the screen.
Oh.
The silver screen, some might say, because he worked on The Gray.
That's a good movie that not enough people watch.
The A-Team.
That's not a good movie.
I like the actors. Smoking Aces.
Quentin Rampage Jackson. Smoking Aces is hot trash.
And finally, Narc.
Narc's pretty okay because
What do
it's
you-
stupid.
what?
It's stupid.
What? I love Narc. Why don't you like Narc?
No, I like it, but I don't think it's a particularly well-made movie. It's just balls to the walls idiotic.
Whoa. I love Narc. Great performances. Love the cinematography in that movie. Okay, well,
That's fine.
all right, he's going to be writing the screenplay for Uncharted.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's a smart choice because clearly he has a track record of action movies that do reasonably well at the box office, so it's a safe pick.
Do you know who executively produced Narc?
Michael Bay.
Just the weirdest factoid ever. Just think of an action movie star who's kind of short.
An action movie star who's kind of short?
Yeah.
Steven Seagal?
Nope. He always likes looking young.
Dolph Lundgren? I don't know.
Nope. He's a young. He likes to look young, even though he's over 50 years old. He's in a series right now that I think is going up to its 6th entry.
Jesus. The fucking bald guy.
You'd never guess. 'Cause
No,
it's
who is
so
it?
random. Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise, really?
Tom Cruise executively produced Narc. He was really behind the script.
That's weird.
Is that not weird?
That's bizarre.
Okay. Moving on. Speaking of adaptations, and by the way, don't make video game movies. It's stupid.
Mhm. Agreed.
Square Enix is going to be working with Legendary Digital Studios. You gotta be kind of full of yourself to name your studio Legendary. You know?
Yeah.
They're gonna be making a live-action TV show for Life is Strange.
Oh.
That's right. Dimitri Johnson and Dan Yevos. I don't know. It's
Whatever.
Swiss bullshit. They're going to be taking care of the production. They also recently worked on that upcoming Sonic the Hedgehog movie for Sony.
Do they have, like, is there, are they just doing this
Don't
and then
know.
they're going to sell it to the network? Okay. Because I think Life is Strange would work, like, either as a digital streaming series on, like, Netflix or
That's
Amazon
exactly
or
what
Hulu.
Yep.
I think it works fine. If you're going to go traditional network television, I think the only place you can pitch that and have it succeed is if you get on the CW.
I was thinking FX. I could see that kind of creeping into FX.
I don't know. FX has it's got a primarily like 35-year-old man audience, and
Yeah.
Life is Strange is more of a not 35, not man audience.
No, I agree with you, but I do see something like Life is Strange attracting a different audience to a network. Obviously, right now the focus is to just kind of be one thing because it's so hard to get eyeballs on the screen. But I could see Life is Strange going to a number of different networks. I think CW might have too many of those types of shows. And
Well, that's their bread and butter, though, man. That's what people expect.
I mean, it's either a superhero or it's a teen girl crying into a pillow.
Yeah,
really.
so why not have both? You're a superpowered teen who occasionally cries into a pillow.
Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Moving on, let's talk about the legal news this week. Nvidia has settled a number of lawsuits. There were 15 separate class action lawsuits over the GeForce 970. Why? Because I said it was a 4 gigabyte card. In actuality, it was a 3.5 gigabyte card. Well, Nvidia has agreed to pay $30 to anyone that, I don't know, opts
30?
into this. Well, it's, you take the price of the card, so you got a certain percentage that's not working as promised, so $30. I mean, they had this coming. That's total bullshit to be like, oh, it's a 4 gigabyte card, and it's not.
Yeah.
That's like when I bought this hard drive, and I found it wasn't 200 gigabytes, it was only 192. What a bunch of bullshit. You ever see that? I see people complaining about that all the time. It cracks me up.
Oh, because like it takes up space to.
Yeah, to
on the
exist.
hard drive,
Yeah. Hilarious. Anyway, speaking of the law, because we are talking about the legal news right now, Rhode Island State Police, alongside the Rhode Island Attorney General, have come to the conclusion that 38 Studios has no sort of criminal activity whatsoever regarding Kingdoms of Amalur and also, costing the state a hell of a lot of money. $75 million.
Ooh, Lord.
Yeah.
Good job, Kings of Amalur and fucking what's his face, the pitcher.
Yeah, I forget his name. But basically the state police colonel, Stephen O'Donnell, had this to say. He, of course, is the brother of Chris O'Donnell. That is not true. In order to prosecute any individual for a violation of any Rhode Island criminal statute, we have to establish probable cause that laws were broken. We have found no probable cause to establish that crime was committed. He also noted that he shares in the frustrations of all Rhode Islanders when it comes to the entire 38 studio episode. You got to remember, that's a lot of money. They're a tiny state. Very, very small.
Yeah.
Minuscule. Like, honestly, I forget they even exist because they produce nothing. They are nothing.
And it's super shitty, too, because that game was critically acclaimed and sold reasonably well, but it was just poorly managed, and that's what happened.
It basically is Skyrim with really good gameplay. And say what you will about Skyrim. It's exploring the world that makes those games fun. But if you want good gameplay, Kingdoms of Amalur more than delivered, and was published by EA. So that's another good EA game to put down the list. But I will give it to Rhode Island. They took a risk, a stupid risk on video games, and it didn't pay off, and then they bitched and moaned and tried to get these people arrested. So good on them for not even understanding what they were getting into before giving out $75 million. I mean, hey, blame everybody else, Rhode Island. So let's go into more legal news. Tamar Tien, you know him, CSGO Lotto guy. Honor the Call is the dude that put out all those videos that we're talking about, CSGO Lotto. The guy that broke the story before everyone else picked up on it, right? Honor the Call received an email, and there is no evidence whatsoever that this is actually from Tamar Tien. Here's what the email said. I'm going to make things very simple for you. You take down the video and say that you do not have any proof admitting that you were just trying to get views, and I will pay you $1,000 PayPal. If you do not comply, I will tell my fans to dislike all your videos and report the videos, and I know people very high up on YouTube that could easily remove your channel.
Ha! $1,000? That's like nothing.
Tamar Tien even said like it basically was like, if you think that email is real, extra long ellipses, LOL. That was his comment on the subject. It doesn't sound like this could. I can't imagine him actually doing this.
No,
he's stupid, but not that stupid. He's not the guy that would admit to doing anything wrong to anyone ever. You know, I don't know. I bet people are just playing a trick on him. Anyway, let's go to the cursed land of tea and crumpets to find out where are the 10 best-selling games in the UK. Number 10 is Minecraft Xbox Edition. Number 9 is Monster Hunter Generations. Number 8 is Rocket League. Number 7 is Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Number 6 is Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. Number 5 is Doom. Number 4 is Grand Theft Auto 5 because they just make a lot of goddamn money off that game. Number 3, Overwatch. Are you over Overwatch?
No, I keep playing.
Me too. What a treat. Number 2 is FIFA 16. And number 1 is Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens, which is available on a multitude of platforms that dumb children buy. And by dumb children, I mean you're 35. Stop buying the Lego games.
Stop buying Lego games.
Unless it's the Marvel one. That was pretty okay if you like the movies. Just being real. Real recognized real. Let's go to the cursed land of trains. Oh, you weren't here the past couple of weeks.
No. What happened in the train land?
Oh, boy. Got a lot of trains on this show. You ever think about that? Number 10 for Japan, Kirby Planet Robo, which still, it's doing okay. It only sold 350,000 copies so far in Japan, so not tremendous. Number 9 is Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, showing that Pokemon Go is having an influence on sales. Number 8 is New Interpretation Stranger of Sword City. Funny story, Stranger of Sword City is an Xbox One exclusive in Japan for home consoles.
Oh, that's weird.
I know, isn't that weird? Number 7 is Splatoon on the Wii U.
Cool.
Number 6 is Mario and Sonic at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games, which so far has only sold 53,000 copies.
Yeah, spoiler alert, at the end, Sonic gets Zika virus and has to have his legs amputated.
That would be a beautiful thing. Number 5 is Minecraft Wii U Edition. Number 4 is Black Rose Valkyrie on the PlayStation 4. Number 3 is Shimiko Gurashi Mura Tokasaran Desu on 3DS. That's a new title. Number 2 is Yves 8. This is not even a real word.
Yeast 8?
No, I'm fine with that. That's been around. La Cremosa of Donna. And number 1 is Yokai Watch 3 Sushi Tempura! I'm so happy to see Yokai back.
Sushi Tempura.
Guess who's back in the motherfucking house with a motherfucking yokai for your motherfucking watch? That's I believe Snoop Dogg said that. Let's go and see where the best-selling consoles in Japan. New 3DS LL with 21,463. PlayStation 4 with 20,021. PlayStation Vita with 11,363, Wii U with 5,864, new 3DS with 4,355, PlayStation 3 with 1,006, 3DS with 725, 3DS LL with 189, and in last place is Xbox One with 55 because they just don't count Vita TV no more.
No, well, you have to sell some to actually count.
But just important to note that the new 3DS LL, of course, is the best-selling console right now because Yokai Watch 3 is only available on the 3DS. And that's going to do it for the Chart Park. Land where money grows on trees.
Yeah.
I saw you could buy Yokai for really cheap recently. You might want to invest in that because part 2 is coming up.
Oh, shit.
I know.
Gotta join that white dog squad.
Hey, you know what? If the NX allows me to be able to capture Yokai footage, okay. All is forgiven. All is forgiven. Speaking of Yokais, of course, that is a mobile title. And we even have a section of the show where we talk about mobile and handhelds.
And what is that called?
Let's get tiny. It's time for Pocket Talk, Pocket Talk, Pocket Talk. Pokemon Go. Pretty
Never heard of
big
it.
deal, right? Remember that Pokemon Go wristwatch accessory? You know, it's got the...
Oh, yeah, like buzzes and you hit the button and then you get the Pokemon.
It was supposed to be out this month. Well, last month. And now it will not arrive until September. That was the news. Pretty huge missed opportunity right there.
I'd say so.
Because, I mean, they'll still sell plenty, but they won't. I think over the long run, they won't sell as many because they're edging closer towards winter. That's going to be the real test for this game. Mom, can you drive me to 5 different places? Gotta catch Bulbasaur.
Honey, there's a blizzard.
You to see that minivan skidding off a cliff.
Yeah.
No!
I did it for the sand shrew.
Oh, wow. Terrible for them. Let's move over to Professor Layton. Good news. Lady Layton is going to be the next entry in the series. It will be released in early 2017 in Japan on the 3DS and smartphones. Really curious to see the 3DS sales versus the smartphone sales on those Professor Layton games.
I like that move, though, because Professor Layton is definitely a Nintendo franchise where you go, okay, this would work well on a smartphone.
Nintendo franchise with air quotes.
Yeah, Nintendo franchise. A franchise that may or may not be owned by Nintendo, but they have a majority stake in.
You want to see Professor Layton in Smash Brothers?
I don't know what he would do.
He'd solve a puzzle in the background while the rest of them fight. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I would, one of my biggest issues with remasters on consoles, you see things like, the Borderlands collection, Sleeping Dogs, Batman, all these opportunities to replay these other games. We don't get that same experience on handhelds, which is really disturbing to me. Just disturbs the hell out of me. I can't even sleep at night. The idea that you cannot play all the Professor Layton games without being in Japan with a smartphone or tracking down cartridges, that's a crime. That's a crime to me, especially when you consider that things like, Ace Attorney, you can download the trilogy on 3DS. That's one of the only examples. I would love to play through all these games.
Yeah.
I mean, I love puzzle games because I'm a smart guy, So I'm big into solving things. I'm also really good at games. That's why
You also like men in top hats.
What about it? You know some?
I know some.
Let's move over to the PlayStation Vita. We don't often have PlayStation Vita news. However, Henkaku is a brand new exploit that allows you to crack open your Vita and play homebrews, as well as whitelist games on your PlayStation Vita TV, so you can play whatever you want on your PlayStation Vita TV.
Nice.
This actually affects the latest firmware update, so that means Sony's probably going to crack down on this soon. The person that created this, his name is Yifan Liu. Here's what he had to say. So, in case you're ready to steal some games off the internet, here's what he says. It does not let you install or run Vita backups, wares, or any pirated content. It does not disable any DRM features. It does not let you decrypt encrypted games. Here's my stance on this. I do not care one way or the other about piracy. I do not judge people who do pirate. I will not act as the police for pirates. However, I will personally not write any tools that aid in piracy. It is not my choice, just as is the pirate's choice. Oh no, it is my choice, just as is the pirate's choice to steal content. I was going to say counsels.
That's fair.
That's an incredibly responsible stance.
Also, it's funny, though, because someone's going to take his exploit that he created and then just make it so you can run cracked games.
Sweet.
That's what's going to happen.
I mean, the Vita, it's still on the shelf. They still sell plenty of games. I think it's very responsible of him. And that's the thing. People go, the Vita doesn't sell. And, you're right. But the games, the attach rate, still very good. I mean, you talk about these independent developers or limited run games, they sell plenty of copies to warrant Vita releases.
Sure.
Although I Am Setsuna was not released on the Vita in America or physically. And that's going to do it for Pocket. Let's take the mushroom.
We're big now.
I want to be big. You want to be big, kid? You got to play that Prep of the Rapid 2, man. It's my favorite stage in that game.
Yeah. I thought you just wanted me to watch the Tom Hanks movie.
No, or the musical based off of the film. That really happened. Whoever decided to make Big into a musical, they didn't have all their screws on tight.
You are the idiot of the week.
We have the idiots of the week. That's a loosey good. This show has just been falling apart because of the production right now. We'll investigate on why that is.
All loose and floppy, just like your prolapsed anus, Colin.
Hey, put a top hat on it, and I'm all about it. So, man, prolapsed anus is really like the big thing this year. Yeah. I can't name how many times people...
Trending topic?
Yeah. Okay.
Hashtag pink sock.
So, the former chief executive of Xbox, Robbie Batch, has been letting loose a ton of industry secrets about the Xbox 360 and other bits of news. Here's what he says about when they came up with a name for the Xbox 360. Certainly, Xbox 3 was actually on the list because, well, you gotta play catch-up. You don't want to be the Xbox 2 compared to the PlayStation 3. We actually talked about that. You don't want to feel like you're a generation behind, so why not skip? Can you imagine if they called it the Xbox 3?
That'd be idiotic.
That would be stupid. But not as stupid as naming a console Xbox 360. I don't care how used to it we are now. To this day, when I hear that name, I shake my head. That is the dumbest name of any console. I mean,
I guess Xbox 180 would have been worse.
Yeah. I mean, the FM Towns Marty is at least funny. Xbox 360? What the hell does that mean?
FM Towns Marty just sounds like you're like a British aristocrat in like 1890.
There's a Japanese thing. What can I say? There are tons of dumb console names, but 360. Well, you remember the Xbox, right? Well, we're gonna do a 360. What? What does that mean?
Go back to the place you were before.
And then their logo was a sphere. 360 isn't a sphere. That's a circle.
Eh?
The whole name, the convention of the name, idiotic, stupid. And as much as I enjoyed the 360, and it was a hell of a system, don't get me wrong, I absolutely adored it. Only place you can play the outfit. Regardless, Microsoft, for sticking with Xbox 360, putting it on boxes, and having that name be around for 8 years, you are the idiots of the week. It's like it's like more than 3. I mean, really, that's what it was.
Yeah, we are 60 better than PlayStation 3.
Well, now it is time to talk back to listeners. This is part of the show we listen to the viewers. Remember, 954-947-7377, pressurecast@gmail.com, or even tweet at PressureCastPod with the hashtag PressureCast. And a little thing we like to call thank you for the email. This week we got a very long text message from Chris.
Ooh.
Chris from Nude Industries. Chris, is it freaking out or not? Basically,
the mic sounds good.
We've been having microphone issues where just static just creeps up on us. Just wanted to make sure that wasn't happening.
Yeah.
So in case you're wondering why the show is choppy, now you know. Chris from Nude Industries, of course, he worked on the game Garbinge, which is coming to iOS very, very soon.
And it's a lot of fun. We played it at Midwest Gaming Classic.
Great graphics, too. Love it. He wanted to talk about my opinions on Sonic Mania. You would not... Okay. We'll get... No. We'll let Chris talk first. Because he is the person that sent us this email, and we want to thank him for it. Hey, Chris E. from Newt Industries. On the topic of Sonic Mania, I'm excited. The craft of pixel art is fantastic, and the addition of Drop Dash adds a major dimension to the movement tech, and the slight panning out of the camera is actually a major improvement that nudges gameplay closer to reaction versus memorization. Admittedly, I am a Sonic fan. Playing the original Sonic the Hedgehog in second grade is what set me on the path as a game developer. That bias aside, Sonic Mania marks a major turn for Sega and Sonic Team, in particular as they were previously cease and desist happy and borderline antagonistic towards fan games and fan input. I know what you're talking about. Hey, check out my first hour of Yakuza 5, which is currently on my PC because it was not able to go on YouTube. Not that I think fan input is always a good thing, as fan input is what turned Phantasy Star Online 2 into a hellish mess lacking a unique identity, albeit an extremely successful mess. But this marks the first Sonic game put together underneath this post-PSO2 studio culture. All things considered, I'm looking forward to Sonic Mania, not as something groundbreaking, but more like an iteration, improvement between Super Mario World and New Super Mario Bros. Wii. That was from Chris. Chris, thank you for the text message. Very passionate.
Yeah, well, this is the sad thing about the Sonic series and why I'm kind of excited for Sonic Mania, but long term, I am as cynical as ever. If we look back on the history of Sonic, like post-Sonic CD, there is a history of them fucking up horribly.
What about Sonic 3 and Sonic & Knuckles?
Isn't that post-Sonic CD? Or is that...
That is.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay, so those are fine. But there's a history of Sega fucking up, doing terrible things, and then backpedaling and fixing those things, but then not continuing that. So this is a weird phenomenon from the last, 15 or so years. But if you look at all the Sonic games that have come out, they're all so starkly different.
And trash.
Yeah. And it's interesting, too, because a lot of them are bad in incredibly unique ways.
Yes.
And the things that work, they instead of building off of something that didn't work,
Yep.
they just scrap everything and start over. So if you look at the games that sort of work, like Sonic Rush was okay, but it could have used some work. Sonic and the Secret Rings was okay, but it could have used some work. It was like a proto-endless runner. Okay. So you're going to disagree with me there. But I'm saying, Colin, let me finish my fucking point.
You're going to disagree with me there. Let's go play that game.
Sonic Colors is... It's got some good elements to it, but it doesn't work. Even if you look at the one where he turns into a werewolf, there's some things in there that are interesting. I'm saying they are not, with the exception of Sonic 06, they are not uniformly trash. There are good ideas in there. The one that came out a couple years ago,
Generations,
some good ideas, some horrible mistakes.
Sonic Boom,
the one
Sonic
where you
the Lost Worlds.
What is that the one where you have the spinning? Okay, so there's little nuggets in there where whether it works or not,
nuggets.
Whether it works or not, there are things that you can say, you know what? If you take this and you build on it, there is something here. Okay. But they never do. They always scrap it and find new ways to fail.
They are the TNA of video game franchises.
They are. You see good things. And even when it doesn't work, you're like, holy shit, missed opportunity. There is something here.
Yeah.
You could have made an amazing Sonic the Hedgehog Endless Runner, but you didn't. You could have used some of the mechanics in Sonic Colors and expanded on them, but you didn't.
I like how Sonic Colors feel like, this game is great. Check it out. Sonic's sliding on this thing, and I'm not doing anything. I'm not even touching the controller. This is great. I agree. When you're not touching the controller.
So, the point is, I think that there is a lot of potential here, and it might even be a good game, just like some of the digital release Sonic games that people really liked. But I do not have any faith that Sega will continue to build on that success, and they will continue giving us weird, dumb shit like Sonic Boom forever.
You know, I think it's worth pointing out the only real successes in the Sonic franchise of the past 16 years happen to be the Sonic Advance titles, 1, 2, and 3. They had one. They built on it. Concepts. Or if you look at, Jesus, I just forgot what it was. I had something, and it's gone. Because it's so forgettable. All these games are so forgettable. When they build upon something, I completely agree. That is when they are at their best. But I have no faith in Sonic Team or Sega to be able to produce that. I don't even think Sonic Team wants to make Sonic games. It doesn't look like it whenever they put out a title. And here's the thing. When you look at all of these Sonic titles, all they have in common are, he's kind of fast and it's he's jumping around. Oh, this is kind of fun. I guess it was the level design or something like that. No, nothing in the design has longevity. Nothing. You sit there and you play it for an hour and a half, you're going to walk away going, God damn, I had a lot of frustration. Sonic Generations. Actually, wow, man. There's some 2D Sonic game. Wow. Except when you get to the part where it's the 3D Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they're purposely sabotaging this game because they want you to. It's like being in a bad relationship where they're just like they keep fucking with you. They almost make something perfect so you can see the potential.
Yeah,
just to bring you back, honey.
I really think
because they kick it out the door. They rush all these games, and I
Yeah.
don't believe for a second they're going to give Sonic Mania the time of day to actually make something worthwhile. They're going to kick it out the door.
Yeah. So 2 things Sonic needs in order to get better. 1, identify even in your bad games what works, what doesn't, and how you can build off of those things. Okay.
Oh,
that's step 1.
The Sonic racing games.
Sonic All-Star Racing.
Remember, they made one that was okay, made a sequel that was much better because they built upon it.
So build on what works. And 2, honestly, I really think you need to. Sonic Team can't exist anymore.
Well, no.
I mean,
no.
There's no point.
It's a name.
It's a name. That's all it is. If I was Sega, I would say, you know what? We're gonna reboot the series. We're gonna start with a digital only title, and I'm gonna let an independent developer handle it.
That's what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. So if they do that, and they can use this as a stepping off point to build a Sonic series, that's great because there's so many games that you play now where you're like, fuck, I want to see these guys do a Sonic game. First time I played Super Meat Boy, all I could think of was because of the speed and the movement and just the physics. I'm like, god damn, I wish these guys would do a Sonic game.
I just don't know, man. I mean, I get what you're saying. Fresh team, people that are very experienced, bringing something fresh to the table.
Yep.
That is exactly what happened to Sonic Boom. I'm not even kidding. Big Red Button founded first Project Sonic Boom, people that worked all over the world and did the very successful titles.
Yeah.
So all we have in common here is Sega. Because I think they go, whatever, we're not spending any more money on this. Just kick it out the door.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the sad thing is, for Chris here, he's made a better game than any Sonic game in the past 16 years.
Yeah, congratulations, Chris.
You made a better game. Garbage is better than anything they've put out. And I mean, that's actually selling Garbage very short, I would say. I'd say that it deserves better. That's faint praise when you compare it to Sonic games. Garbage, fantastic game, currently available on Android devices and Amazon.com, as well as iOS. I had a lot of fun with that game. Free to play, or there's also a paid version. Either way, can't go wrong. Love those titles.
It's good.
Now he's going to get a bunch of messages from Sonic fans. You know what else I want to say? Last week's episode of the Pressure Cast, the lowest rate of the year.
Really?
The lowest rated of all year.
You know why? Because I wasn't here.
There you go.
That's right. I'm a sex appeal in this podcast.
Oh, well, the week before that did fantastic. Week before that did fantastic. Week before that did fantastic. The only difference I can think of, I don't know what I did wrong here, is that the title of it involves Sonic.
Ha!
And so
Some people just dislike it because you talked about Sonic.
They don't even want to listen to it. They don't want to even hear about Sonic. I think, once again, it's kind of like, what I said about Nintendo. You're just appealing to a fan base. You're not growing that fan base. Mm-hmm. And, I do believe that you should listen to your fans. I believe that. Mm-hmm. But every single time they make one of these games, it's always, we're taking it back to its roots. We've listened to the fans.
And they don't. It's crazy. That's
Sonic 4.
Sonic is so uniquely bad.
Yeah, it's very bad.
But it's crazy because normally when a franchise fails or a game series kind of falls off the wagon, you can point to very specific things in the series as a whole. Whereas there is no common denominator in the last 15 years for Sonic's success or failure other than it's shitty.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's nuts.
Sega, call up Nude Industries. Let these guys make it. They make good games.
They make good games.
Let them do it. Chris. You knew I was going to respond like this. You wrote a fantastic email, very passionate, and I believe that there are plenty of people out there listening that are nodding their heads going, yeah, I agree with them. So, Chris, seriously, even though being negative Nancy's here, thank you for the email.
Gotta go fast.
Yeah.
Dude, how about that Sonic rock and roll concert, man?
Jesus Christ.
Ha! That's the best thing I've ever seen.
That live stream, Jim Sterling put up a supercut last week, which I would recommend overwatching the whole thing. It's
better than the Konami press conference from a few years ago.
I really believe that Konami press conference is just a one of a kind because you have so many different personalities. You know, there's the Sega Sonic one's just so sad. Because
awesome.
Sonic's just doing these little dances, and it's just, there's nothing going on. Did you know people had to pay to get into that?
Ha! That's even better.
That's insane. Okay. We could shit on Sonic all day. Really, really good. Just break it down. Break it down. But instead, we're going to take a look back at the week that was 10 years ago and beyond and see what anniversaries lie ahead for us. And then a little something we like to call Strong History. 10 years ago this week, Flat Out 2 was released on the PlayStation 2, Xbox, and Windows. This is that racing game that was kind of trying to be like Burnout. I mean, they literally called it Flat Out.
Mm-hmm.
But the one difference was that if you crashed, your driver flew through the windshield and ragdolled.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
It was kind of fun. And they had a bunch of mini games like darts, where you just drove at 100 miles an hour, smashed into a wall, and then your guy would land on the dartboard. It was like a very violent monkey ball.
I get down with that.
They still make... well, if you're not down with that, I got 2 words for you.
You should be. Oh, that's 3.
Yeah. 13 years ago, on the J2ME, Baywatch Beach Volleyball was released.
Oh, my favorite.
Now, of course, that's a cell phone. According to a description I found, Bluebeck uses the Baywatch license to create a beach volleyball game. The only references to the TV show, however, are a few pictures of actresses and the red outfit of the woman you control.
What? I mean, that is well past the Baywatch heyday, right?
2003, yeah.
Yeah, that's not okay. You don't get to play as David Hasselhoff, though?
Dude, that would be Baywatch Nights. That show is bonkers. If you've never looked at Baywatch Nights, first season, it's kind of like, I don't know, like bullshit, private eye kind of show. Second season, just supernatural stuff starts happening. It gets really interesting. Also, 13 years ago, Splashdown Rides Gone Wild was released, which is the ultimate 2003 game. Hey, we're going to try and rip off Wave Race, but we're at an amusement park. Rides Gone Wild. Yowza.
It's crazy.
Well, I mean, it's basically referencing Girls Gone Wild for their jet ski game. 13 years ago, on the PlayStation 2, Silent Hill 3 was released. Great game.
Great game.
Also has another fantastic ending, as they all do. The UFO endings of Silent Hill are so good. Such as Silent Hill 2, where it's the dog all along. Pulling the levers, and then they play a song with dogs barking. Just wonderful. 14 years ago, on the PlayStation 2, Mark of Cree was released in the U.S.
Underrated.
It's actually available on PlayStation 4. It's one of the games you can download.
That's cool.
In case you never played this before, there would be no Batman without this. It revolutionized melee combat. You would use the right stick to highlight enemies. They would have a corresponding button above their head, like an X or a circle or a triangle, and then by pressing that button, you would attack them. So, it's like Batman, but you'd have far more control, actually. 15 years ago, on the Game Boy Advance, Golden Sun launched on Japan, which is probably the biggest RPG series on the Game Boy Advance. Also, 15 years ago, in arcades, Capcom versus SNK2, Match of the Millennium.
That's a classic.
Show 'em your best. I love Capcom versus SNK2.
Now, why don't you marry it then?
I wish I could. The only problem with that game is that they clearly just have these sprites that are just hanging on for dear life. Like, oh yeah, we haven't updated this since 1994, but it's cool. Here, fight some 2002 sprites. That doesn't look weird. Like Morgan from Darkstalkers in that game looks abysmal. Also, 15 years ago, Shenmue 2 was released in Japan on the Dreamcast. Shenmue 2, 15 years old. If you would have told me this day last year that they were making a Shenmue 3, I would say, no shit. They just announced that at E3, you dumbo. But if you were to tell it to me a year and 2 months ago, I'd be like, yeah, right. Shenmue 2, of course, was released on the Xbox in America, but it would come to the PAL territories and Japan on the Dreamcast. One of my favorite games of all time. It's right up there, man. 17 years ago this week, and I'll probably close out the show with some music from this game. One of my all-time favorites, the new Tetris on Nintendo 64. Just some of my favorite music. Every time I see a copy of New Tetris, I get really happy. I remember at Midwest Gaming Classic, they actually had a New Tetris on demo, but it was a very loud room, so you couldn't hear the music. But so good. Just, I love it. It's the best thing about a Tetris game is if you can put people in the mood to play Tetris. And the new Tetris and the 3DO version of Tetris, I think, do the best job of it. Because they give you that very ambient, techno, rainforest kind of vibe to it. Which I think works very well. So, I will go to the Rainforest Cafe sometimes, just play Tetris. Just take out my cell phone and play Tetris.
You won't buy like a $15 cheeseburger?
No. God, no. Volcano cake, yeah. Oh, so good. 19 years ago, on the PlayStation, Herc's Adventure was released, which was
Hey.
a LucasArts game.
It was.
That's a great game.
A lot of fun.
Basically, it's a top-down, kind of like Gauntlet type game, which has very European-style art that kind of stretch and squash animation. And also, what's cool is when you die, you actually have to go to the underworld and fight your way out, which is always cool. And it gets progressively more difficult as you play the game.
Mm-hmm.
Also, 19 years ago, Dragon Ball GT Final Bout was released in 1997. Why does this matter? Because Dragon Ball Z would not be big in the United States for another year, and Dragon Ball GT takes place after Dragon Ball Z, so no one knew what this game was except for a terrible 3D fighter.
Mm-hmm.
So bad.
Not playable.
Oh, God, I played it. It was horrible.
All my dorky anime friends tried to. All
Your
my fans.
Yeah, they're big fans
All
of
my friends,
anime.
they bought it and they were disappointed.
21 years ago. A much better fighting game. Not one of my favorites, but a much better fighting game. Killer Instinct launched on the SNES.
Wow.
Killer Instinct. Also, on the Genesis, this feels hard to believe for me. 21 years ago, on the Genesis, Comic Zone was released.
Mm-hmm.
One of only 2 titles to come from the Sega Technical Institute. I believe it was the Ooze and Comic Zone. Comic Zone is a very difficult game, but if you play with save states, it's a very ambitious, wonderful game.
Yeah.
So ahead of its time.
That's great.
That feels like a game that could come out today and people be like, wow, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Couple tweaks and it would be perfect.
Yeah, maybe lower that difficulty.
Just a smidge.
It's basically, you know what, it's funny because it's almost like what Sub-Zero Mythologies wanted to be, like a 2D fighting game hybrid with an action game.
Mm-hmm.
Comic Zone nailed it.
Yeah, well, because Comic Zone actually has personality.
And you got a little rat buddy.
Yeah, you do have a rat buddy.
Oh, yeah. Also, 21 years now, 20 years ago, Phil's own Hikari to Toki came out on the PC 98.
Is that a Tokitori game?
Sort of. Here is the description. Long time ago, 7 gods who were guarding the earth defeated the evil god Gadim. But time has passed, and the 7 benevolent gods have vanished one by one. Evil, unfortunately, has awakened from its slumber. It's time for somebody else, a human, to become a hero, to defeat it once and for all. This chosen one is a young girl named Thera Frey. She must find other girls with supernatural powers to aid her on her quest to defeat the evil. The evil. Phil's Own plays like a standard top-down Japanese RPG. The party of heroines roam the world map, descending into dungeons, fight random enemies in a first-person perspective, combat using regular attacks or magic, and visit towns and villages to buy supplies and to rest. So pretty standard, right?
Yeah, that sounds like the most generic game I've ever heard in my entire life.
Oh, boy, I forgot. It contains cutscenes with nudity and explicit sexual situations.
What the fuck? So it's just like, here's a boring JRPG, by the way, boobs.
I looked up a picture. First picture is just a girl fingering another girl.
What the fuck?
Just like hardcore, like I'm talking like middle and ring finger, all in. And that girl is just like, ugh.
Jesus Christ.
I know, you read that description. I was reading it. I'm like, I was hoping that. Oh, there. Yep, there it is. There it is. Okay, 22 years ago, on the Genesis, Dynamite Headdy was released.
Hey, that's a good game.
One of the all-time greats. And then 23 years ago, literally a year before and a day before, Rocket Knight Adventures was released on the Genesis.
Damn.
But you got to remember, and this is important, the SNES had better games. Dynamite Headdy, Rocket Knight Adventures, whatever. Fuck it.
Hey, Rocket Knight was way better on the Genesis.
Oh, dude, Sparkster? More like Fartster. 24 years ago, Mortal Kombat was released in arcades across the United States. I don't know about you. I still remember to this day the very first time I saw that game and just being like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Because they digitally scanned real actors in there. You're used to seeing cartoon characters in pixels, and you were still technically seeing pixels. But seeing real people in the game, it's like, holy shit.
Crazy.
And dude, those cabinets were loud.
Mm-hmm.
They were awesome. When you heard Finish Him, it literally, you could hear that from anywhere in an arcade.
Yep.
Also, 24 years ago, Mario Paint launched in the United States.
Oh. Best fly swatter simulator ever.
As I've said before, and I will have to remind you again, I prefer the fly swatting game in WarioWare Touched. If you would respect my wishes. 25 years ago, 25 years ago on the SNES, SimCity was released. Which I know a lot of people, that's where they played SimCity. I don't know if you ever played down there. Yeah. 25 years ago in Japan, Streets of Rage was released on the Genesis.
That's a big deal.
That is a huge deal. Huge deal. That was the very first time I ever played a beat 'em up that really felt good for the home console. Because you gotta remember, Mighty Final Fight won't be out until after this. 30 years ago, come on, Peacock, was released on the PSX. Let's find out more about Come On, Peacock. Gene has been separated from his girlfriend due to the World War going on.
Oh.
And now he must find her again, aided by the friendly blob, Peacock. The game is a flick screen platformer where the protagonist is powerless, but he can command Peacock to help him.
Like Boy and His Blob?
Peacock is very versatile. You may walk behind her, there's a gender for the blob, so that she destroys incoming enemies. You may ride on her, and you may give her a push so that she bounces around the screen like a deadly ball. However, Peacock is much slower than Gene and cannot climb stairs.
No.
If Gene calls out for Peacock, though, she will reach him, even if it means crawling her way up against the backdrop. If Gene stands on top of Peacock and calls for her, she will climb higher and higher so that out-of-reach places of the screen can be reached.
Who the fuck wrote this?
30 years ago.
Oh.
Come on, Peacock.
Come on, Peacock.
We gotta get my girlfriend. There's a world war going on. Come on, you blob.
Classic war blob story, you know?
Everyone knows Come On, Peacock. But 30 years ago, a lesser-known title known as Metroid was released in Japan on the
Never heard
Famicom
of
Disk
it.
System. Gunpei Yokai's brainchild. I would say that Metroid, you could easily say, is the... if you were to make a top 5 most important games of all time,
Yeah, come on, Peacock.
that probably would have to take up 2 spaces
You're
because
right.
of how big it is.
Yeah, that's true.
So Come On is number 1. Peacock's number 2. Shenmue 2. That game with the fingering.
Mm-hmm.
And then Metroid. Because think about it. Every long-form game is based off of Metroid in one way or another. And because the way you gain abilities, that allows you to go to more environments, you know.
It's one of the only games with an entire genre named after it. It's pretty impressive.
Well, you could say the same thing about Castlevania, unfortunately. They merged those together. I adore... I didn't really like the very first Metroid, just being honest. I liked playing it, but it wasn't like a great game. But Metroidvanias are my favorite type of game. They could be. Maybe not my favorite, but they are up there. I prefer puzzle games. You know, smart. But lastly...
Smart boy.
46 years ago, this is what I love about this. This is what I love about doing strong history. Sometimes you just find out information that you might not otherwise know. Nintendo closed its doors 3 years from now. No, I'm kidding. Marvelous Interactive Incorporated was founded 46 years ago. They were the developers on things like Rambo and Die Hard on the NES, Valhalla Knights on the PSP, Bubsy, in Claw's Encounter of the Third Kind on the SNES.
That Bubsy sequel, isn't it?
It is. And those Senra Kagura games that I did a review of, or I did an impression of, didn't complete the game. And No More Heroes on the Wii. They make a lot of games. They're just a company you don't often think about. And you might not even believe that 46 years ago, this week, they were founded. And that's a cool little thing to know. So come on, Peacock. Celebrate Marvelous Incorporated. I guarantee you, there's a game out there that you enjoy from them. And that's going to have to do it for Strong History. Well, this show was bad to make, but I hope it was fun to listen to.
It was bad to make.
It was not good. Not good. But anyway, I think it's time to close out the show.
Yeah.
Steven, where can people reach you on the internet?
Well, you can find me on Twitter. Wait, let me try that again.
Twitter got crazy.
Twitter got crazy.
Gone wild.
I am marble mouth today. I don't know what's wrong with me.
All that whiskey.
You can find me on twitter.com at Steve Cuff. That's at Steve C-U-F-F. That's at Steve
See-you friendly face. Continuity.
Yeah, seriously. Add me on Twitter. We'll be buds. You can talk to me. Other than that, you can find me on optimismvaccine.com. You can find me on YouTube, Optimism Vaccine. You just search for Optimism Vaccine. You're going to get a bunch of weird things about like anti-vaccination, but Optimism Vaccine should be at the top. So, Why should you care about optimism vaccine? Because we explore the dirty little crevices between pop culture and forgotten trash, and we find all kinds of cool shit to talk about. So video games, movies, television, music, you name it. We have a wonderful series of podcasts which you can find on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, basically anywhere you find podcasts. So just search for Optimism Vaccine or the OpVacCast. It's wonderful. Trust me.
I don't know. You don't like narc.
I like Joe Carnahan.
Well, there you go. Well, I know. Definitely check that out. Rate and review OpVacCast on
Please
all
do.
those services. As for me, I'm going to have a video for Headlander, the brand new Double Fine game. I'm going to have a review, an episode of Worth It, out on Tuesday. And then for the rest of the week, we don't know. As soon as this week is over, we're back into it, baby. We actually have games coming out. It's going to make things a whole lot easier. I've been drug-free, so I'm feeling ready to get back into the game. That's not actually...
The drug game?
I mean, I've been drug-free, it doesn't actually...
For like 10 minutes now.
Yeah, just doing a bump. No, we don't really have anything going on. So that's just it. Just go to the website, look at stuff, click on stuff, listen to old episodes of the PRESSURECAST. Look at my old reviews. Look at my review of I Am Setsuna. No one's watching that goddamn thing.
Hey, I watched it. It was a good review.
Thank you very much. You're right. So, anyway, this show has had a problem. Every time we record, static comes into it, and we have to stop the recording. Which is ironic! Because the PRESSURECAST doesn't stop. Because the PRESSURECAST is forever. See you guys.
Bye.
PRESSURECAST, weekly video game news podcast, is solely owned and operated by Colin Tanner. Guests of the PRESSURECAST are not employees or freelancers of Colin Tanner, the PRESSURECAST, or VideoGamesAreDumb.com, and are not paid. Music featured on the PRESSURECAST is property of their respective owners, and no infringement is intended. For more information, email pressurecast@gmail.com.